We've added lots and lots of new functionality in the purchase orders and shipping modules. You'll notice on the purchase order screen we've got new columns added for tracking shipping, tracking the receiving of items on purchase orders, and also doing returns. So now, for example, from a purchase order you can create a shipping records in advance to track the shipping of the purchase orders that either are coming into your company or you might be drop shipping to your customer as well. So that's the purpose of the track shipping section here. Also, when you receive goods on a purchase order, they automatically in the background create shipping records in and mark the stock has been received then. If you track anything by serial numbers, you can input those serial numbers on receiving goods. And you can also do returns from a purchase order as well, and that'll create shipping out records back to the relevant supplier. Another area we've greatly improved is the area of drop shipping from a purchase order. So up here we can specify that it's a drop ship, and then we can specify who the company is that we're going to be shipping to, or that the supplier is going to be shipping to directly. So if we create a shipping record for a purchase order, what that does is creates a drop shipping type record where you can specify on that record who the supplier is, who the carrier is, and who the customer is that's receiving the goods. We've also improved the purchase or supplier invoice related functionality in JobPro here as well. We've improved the functionality in the products, quotes and sales orders module for creating purchase orders. So at a product level you can track minimum stock, maximum stock and reorder quantity for that product. A minimum order quantity can be set at the supplier level for each product, and multiple suppliers can be entered for each product, with one being the default supplier. Also, a job number can be linked to each line item on a purchase order instead of just one job number per purchase order. This way costs from a purchase order can filter back to the job costing level of each job to give more accurate job costing figures. So if we have a look at jobs here, we can click on this job by going to it, and if we look at the cost tab, we can see here now that it's slightly different to previous versions where we're looking at purchase order lines relating to this job and not just purchase orders. Okay, so let's go back into the purchase orders. There's also now the ability to specify the default tax code and rate at the supplier level so that the relevant code and rate is used as a default on a purchase order for that supplier. The user has the ability to change the code rate at the line item level of the purchase order as well. You can also now specify the payment terms on a purchase order and that they appear on the printed or emailed purchase order. We've also added the supplier quote ref to purchase orders on the entry screen so users can enter in a reference number from the supplier if relevant, and it'll appear on the printed purchase order. There's also a new tracking number field added to the purchase order module. This gets passed through to the shipping record created from the purchase order, so tracking can be done there. And when all items are received on a purchase order, the status will automatically change to received. So let's take a quick look at new features in the shipping module as well. So the shipping module can now be used to track outgoing and incoming shipping, as well as drop shipping direct to customers. So this makes the module suitable for returns going out to suppliers or returns coming in from customers. So there's also the ability in setup to specify what heading to put on the shipping record if it's one of the following, like an outgoing shipping that's a return, an incoming shipping, or an incoming shipping that is a return. The shipping module has a new tracking tab offering a lot more tracking related functionality than in previous versions. So we can interact with shipping services like UPS, DHL and FedEx, or enter in your own carriers in setup and link to their website tracking tools, all from within JobPro. So this means live web tracking of your incoming or outgoing shipping from within the JobPro database. So let's have a quick look at that. If we click on the tracking tab, here we've got an outgoing shipping for a particular product, quantity of 3, and we'll say that the carrier is UPS, and we'll say that the tracking number, we'll put in anything in there. Now it won't be a legitimate tracking number. And in here now we can interact with this in the web viewer, but we can click on a little icon to open this to full screen. And if you put in a valid tracking number, you can then view further information and actually interact with this as if you're on the web. So let's click on return. So as mentioned, in setup you can specify the different carriers that you use and the URLs that are required to interact with their online systems. But you'll also set up the carriers as suppliers in the company module. And in here, if we do a search on suppliers, and on the shipping tab, this is where we can set up a supplier and specify them as a carrier. For example, UPS. We'll flag them as a carrier, and then we'll link them to the setup URL that's used to interact with their website, and that's done in setup. So back in home, go into setup, and under lists and menus, if we scroll down to the lower part and then click on shipping carrier tracking option, and in here you can create more carriers and you can put in the URL that's required for this system to interact with the relevant website for that carrier. So let's go back into the shipping module. So also, if a shipping record is linked to an invoice where either the shipping record is created from an invoice itself, or itself created an invoice, or it was created as part of a part invoice and ship from a sales order, then the invoice number is displayed on the shipping screen, and the user can click on a link to view the invoice over in this section here. The same link is displayed on the shipping quick view screen on the home screen. One of the benefits of this new feature is there's less chance that a shipping record will be created and not invoiced, as that can easily be searched on now, where we can search for any shipping records that haven't been invoiced. If we go back into home and have a look at the quick view screen for shipping, we can also see that here. Also back in shipping, there's a new ability to include relevant serial numbers for items on a shipping document, where there's a preference in setup to turn this option on or off. So for example, let's create a new shipping out record, outgoing, specify the customer, we'll add a product onto it. Specify a quantity.